everyone, and welcome once again to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Oliver.
And I got Oliver again with me to do Superman 2. Ollie, I am stoked to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Yes, I have returned once again to provide more Superman information.
And I'm here to host things and pretend like I know more than I do. No, I'm kidding. It's been a while since I've watched this one, so it'll be interesting to have it all kind of flood back to me. I don't think I know Superman 2 quite as well as I know the first one.
Right, okay, yes. I just hope it still stands up as a good, solid sequel.
Oh, yeah,
to you.
Yeah. Well, but having said that, of course, General Zod is and always will be my favorite comic book movie villain.
Oh, right, fantastic.
Always. Yes. So, hey, if you've never done one of these with us before, what we do is we talk about the film while watching the film. It's a commentary, but it's also a podcast. So, if you don't want to watch the movie along with us, we try to provide enough context that you can listen to this if you have, seen the film, without watching it also. But, it's more fun to watch it with us, and, if you want to do that, go ahead and rig up your DVD or your Blu-ray or however you want to watch it, right now. Get it past the titles, get it to timestamp 0, and then press play with us as soon as I give you the sign. Are you ready, Ollie?
I am indeed.
All right, everybody. Press play right now. So, Oliver, right out the gate, I better ask you this question, and I know that we're going to do the Donner cut later on. Do you think that the Donner cut is a better cut, or is it just a different cut?
It is a different cut.
Oh.
I think it needs to be recut again. I don't think it was cut professionally to a decent, to a high standard. I think it still needs more work done.
Wow. I agree with that. I still think that it is a slightly better cut simply because I just like some of Donner's ideas better.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that the ending works any better. I also don't think that it's any worse.
I think the ending's better in the theatrical, with Superman holding the flag at the end. It seems more, I don't know, it just seems to work better instead of reversing time again.
That I like him holding the flag. I just mean the actual conclusion of it. Really, I think we're talking. We're kind of comparing apples and oranges when we're like, okay, what's better, turning the Earth backwards or a magic kiss?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the magic kiss is it's a very silly idea, but it kind of works in a way because it's acted so well at the end, and it's well written, I think.
I remember being a kid and watching this, and then going back and watching Superman 1 again and being like, holy crap, these three bad guys are in that movie. I forgot all about that.
Also, the Stormtrooper guy at the beginning, does he have to press that button to talk? He presses it and goes, stop it. It's like, does he have to press a button to talk? And I don't understand.
He's a walking walkie-talkie.
Yeah. Also, now, in this bit here, obviously, because they couldn't have Brando, they've blacked out certain bits where you can't see Marlon Brando, and also they've added a new voiceover for the council to sort of fill in the lines that what Marlon Brando would have said.
And naturally, of course, because they couldn't use Brando, it is really sad and also kind of awkward that just suddenly Clark's mother shows up and is talking to him with no explanation as to where the heck Jor-El went.
That's true, yeah. But it does kind of... What the producer said, Pierre Spengler, I think he said, were with the mother, when you're talking about relationships, it kind of works in a way with the mother. But yeah, it does seem a bit sad to lose Brando.
I guess the only way it really works is to look at it as two different films, and the way they were released, they are two different films. The way Donner envisioned it is that they really are kind of one big, giant, epic film. Even though the first movie is kind of, broken up into a 3-part epic, this still was very much supposed to be an extension of that. And if that had been kept that way, it would have been kind of weird for suddenly Clark to have this relationship with his mother, because after all, it was a story about a father and a son.
That's true. And also, Superman 2 doesn't feel like a 3-part like section. It doesn't feel like 3 movies in one. It's just one solid film, and I think that's why some people preferred the sequel to the first film.
I think it's definitely paced in such a way that people are more familiar with.
Yeah.
And especially back then that they were that I think it was just maybe more accessible to people. In a way.
Did you prefer the intro for Superman 2 over over the original Superman?
No, not really. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, you could have had that intro because. Well, are we just talking about the titles or just the intro?
The title sequence, yeah.
Well, because of course, the title sequence is filled with images we saw from the first movie. So.
Well, as a kid, I've spoken with other Superman fans. I think Superman 2 sort of title sequence with the montage from the first film rates very highly as their favourite one because it's kind of like a music video as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I was a kid, I think I didn't watch these together very often, and I think maybe I even originally saw them out of order. And so I kind of wondered where all this footage came from, and was like,
did I miss something? What's happening?
Like, I think I've seen Superman before, but I don't know how many of these things there have been made. Like, it does kind of look like a montage from an entire season of television, doesn't it?
Yeah. When I show this to people who haven't seen it before, they do find the intro overly long. I think because a lot of people today are very impatient. They're used to seeing films with very short intros, and when they see this, like, oh, come on, it's taking forever. I'm like, no, you got to enjoy it. It's got amazing music, great visuals. It's epic. I
want to see this kind of thing more often now. I was so happy that Skyfall did it.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, James Bond will always have that. Will always have a big intro.
You've got that traditional opening where they give you all the titles at the beginning, and of course, as I'm sure you know, that used to be standard. You used to have to do it that way.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I think we talked about that some in our first commentary, maybe.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, did you feel the music in Superman 2 was slightly wasn't as good as the first film because obviously it's a different composer for Superman 2?
I didn't know that until I watched a review of it.
There we go. Yeah, so composed and conducted by Ken Thornton. So he's a British composer.
I can't believe I didn't pick up on it, but no, I think that this is a rock solid soundtrack.
Oh, good, yeah, because I've always been a big fan of it. It's a bit more of a faster tempo to the Superman theme, and it's a bit more heavy, a bit more bassy. Obviously, the orchestra is a lot smaller because the Soul Kinds are being cheap and just sort of cutting things back to save money. But,
I never noticed, though.
Yeah, the composer had to take all the music and make it fit the sequel, and that's what a arranger or reorchestrator would do. And it's a tough job. It's very difficult. You can't just copy and paste music. You've got to make it fit the timing right and make it work with the emotional scenes. So he did a very good job for a very short period of time.
Well, I'll say, because just sitting here watching this right now, it still feels as big and grandiose as the first one.
Oh, good.
So they faked it pretty well.
We don't really get that anymore. We don't get many... for sequels, they always get a new composer in, or they get the same composer in to do new music. I think Jurassic Park 3 had a different composer, which had to do the same job, was actually reorchestrate John Williams' music, but also add his own material.
Well, that's interesting, yeah. Well, and of course, everybody past the second Harry Potter film had to do that.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Keep finding places to put that theme until it got
to make it work, yeah.
Yeah. By the point where you get 6, you're like, maybe we shouldn't keep having these movies have that children sounding kind of.
Yeah. Now sick of this theme. Go away.
and then by the time you got to 7, they just put it in there really briefly to remind you what you were watching.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't have that. It's nostalgic now. This series has been going on for 10 years.
I don't think anyone could ever get bored of John Williams' Superman theme.
I don't think so either. I have heard people already say that when they go to Man of Steel, they're going to be really disappointed if this theme isn't in it. And I'm like,
it won't be. It's going to be heartbreaking.
Any chance that they would use that, and they shouldn't use it.
I know. But wouldn't it be funny though if they said the entire time we're not going to use it, but they did, and then just make everyone shit their pants, They'd be like, oh my god, That would be good.
I apologize for Oliver's French.
yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
That's a Richard Donner shot, Daily Planet. All the Daily Planet shots outside are all Richard Donner. Let's recycle it for Superman 2 and 3.
I always, I can't help but always look at the bulletin boards in the background and try to see if I recognize anything.
Well, is it like one bit of the background you can see Bill Cosby, like a photo of him in Perry White's office?
Okay, here's the thing. I've been putting together this trivia book, and I'm so busy I'm not done with it yet. But I've been putting together this trivia book, and when I wrote the trivia for Superman 2, I stared at that picture for a long time trying to figure out who it was, because I thought it was Bill Cosby too, and then I did research on it, and it's not.
What? It looks just like him.
Yeah, it does, but it's actually O.J. Simpson.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
because he was a really big deal at this point.
Well, Christopher Reeve helped out with the Special Olympics, I think it was, in the 1980 with O.J. Simpson. So
I didn't get that. Well, then maybe that has something to do with why that...
Possibly, yeah.
But I'm almost 100% sure that's who that is in that picture.
Right, okay, that's good.
Trying to find... Like everybody I found said that's O.J. Simpson.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know. I always thought it was Bill Cosby.
Those of you watching, we're not even looking at it yet, but I'll point it out when we see it. It's here. I think it's here pretty soon somewhere. But Oliver. Oh, there it is. There he is. Jay Simpson. Pretty sure. Ollie, I have never been a big fan of this opening action sequence about to come up.
Oh, with the whole, in Paris, Eiffel Tower and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been something tied more into the overarching story.
I think they just had to come up with something to start this film and give it a bit of action, because as we all know in the Donner cut, you just have Lois jumping out the window and sort of trick Superman. So they've come up with something, to sort of get you into the flow of the film, and it feels something more like out of a James Bond film.
Yeah, it does. I also always really hate this thing where it's like, is your clothes just disappearing a superpower?
Oh, yeah, we discussed last time. See, that is the best transformation of Superman in any of the films.
Yeah, it looks great, but
it looks amazing, but it is, there's no reason why his clothes disappear, but it just looks cool, and I love it.
Yeah, it does look cool. I'm just saying that, like, these movies are grounded enough that I don't care for stuff like that. Because, like, you could have done something a little more real than that.
Oh, definitely. But you couldn't have him, like, just putting his clothes in, like, a suitcase. It'd be really boring, or just throwing them out the window.
Yeah, and if you just threw them on the ground, you'd have to buy new clothes all the time.
Exactly. You have so many people going, who's these clothes? Who keeps leaving this stuff? I find all his clothes being donated to charity. Like, where's my stuff gone?
Or like he just incinerates it with his heat vision every time he takes his clothes.
Yeah.
And he's got to buy new clothes. If you ever go to Clark Kent's apartment, you find out that he has, like, just 2 walk-in closets with nothing but suits. It's identical suits. Just in case. He's got one Superman suit, but he's wearing it.
Exactly.
See, this all just goes on too long for me.
Oh, with the, like I say, yeah, it's a little bit overly long, I think. 'Cause it takes Superman, because Superman, you can fly extremely quickly, and he seems to get there quite slowly, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a good point. But just considering the fact that, like, none of this is going to be important for what goes on later.
Well, no, because obviously they had to come up with an idea, because obviously they didn't have the missile he threw, so you had to throw something into space to free General Zod, so it had to come up with this story.
Sort of ties in like that. I just still wish they had found a way to just keep it like it was. Like, I always really liked the idea of he throws the missile from the first movie, and Superman is directly responsible for releasing Zod.
Well, yeah, that's true. But obviously he's still responsible in this one. But they had to shoot more footage for Richard Lester to gain credit. Because if they kept the same ending, well, in this one, you have less percentage, so you couldn't be credited as director.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah. But I mean, I just think it hurts the film slightly. It's like like so many of these decisions have to be made not because of story, but because of business.
That's true. Yes. I don't think really anyone had a problem with it when it came out. That's the thing. I think since the internet came about, people started finding out more information about Superman 2 and all the problems. People were like, oh my god, I want to see this Richard Donner version.
If I had never seen Donner's cut, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem with it either. And now that I have that knowledge, I kind of watch this scene and just look at my watch. And I'm just finished because I'm like, okay, all of this is here just because they couldn't do it the cooler way.
That's true. But actually, when we were talking about Harry Potter earlier, one of the terrorists, the sort of chubby one, is Harry Potter's stepdad in the first 3 films.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. You see him in a second, yeah.
It's a full?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Now, I will say that this is vintage Lois Lane. I mean, that she would put herself on the line like this. And
oh, definitely, yeah. That's
kind of scared.
That is straight out the comics, isn't it? And even the Fleischer cartoons, she's always getting into trouble.
Yeah, that's right. And keep saying, like, Pulitzer Prize, trying to, make herself less nervous. I like all that.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, you're right. Why is it taking Superman so long to get there?
He'd be there ready and go, what's going on? Get the ball, throw it, or like eat it, or I don't know.
Be like, well, I don't think there's any problem yet. Oh, look at Lois. What's going on there?
But I think, even, as you say, you find the scene a little bit boring. It is very well shot. I mean, just show Richard Lester is a very confident director. And get it all done in just a short space of time. It does look good, and all the camera setups are very good as well.
I don't think anybody probably went into this movie realizing it was directed by somebody else.
No, I don't think so. No, I think they would have gone, oh, it's Richard Donner, not even thinking twice,
Well, don't you think that, like you said, with the advent of the internet and stuff, and like geek culture sort of permeating like it does these days, that like unless you were a film nut or somebody who like studied film, people didn't talk about directors like they do now.
No, they don't. No.
I don't think. I mean, the fact that Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy is talked about as the Nolan trilogy, that kind of thing. We never talked about things in terms like that before.
No, it's not. It's true. It's true. I think it all sort of stems from when a director makes a film which is very much visually that director's style, and they do the same sort of style of films. Like you got Tim Burton style of filmmaking, where it's very easy for someone to sort of point out and go, oh, that's that Burton style, or you got the Nolan style of filmmaking.
Yeah, that's right. Ironic that they both made Batman.
Yeah.
Because they both have that. And are sometimes criticized for the fact that their films always look the same. Richard Donner, you can't tell one film from another.
That's why I feel what makes a good director. They can tackle any style of filmmaking, and you can't point them out and go, oh, that's a, Richard Donner film. You won't know. You've got someone to watch Lethal Weapon or Maverick or Goonies, they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
First, it's a Richard Donner film,
And I'm sure I'll get some flack for this, but Schumacher's like that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You got phone Booth is really good. Falling Down is really good. They're different, and you got Batman and Robin, but it's like completely different styles.
And people just assume that he's a terrible filmmaker because Batman and Robin and Batman Forever is all they ever watched of his, or all they ever realized was him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess the one films, it's sort of when people take offence to films personally, then they blame the director and they refuse to watch any of his other films. But Joel Schumacher is a very good director.
Now let me ask you this: do you know anything else that Lester's made?
Hard Day's Night, the Musketeer films.
I forgot he made those. Yeah.
Oh, a funny thing on the way to the Forum. There's a lot of British sort of comedy films,
I love that movie.
Yeah. Very good.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
Oh wow. Well, they had
off topic. What is your favorite Beatles film?
I think Hard Day's Night probably has.
Okay. There's another one I like almost as well, and I can't remember what
it was.
It is.
Help. I think it was called Help. I think it was one.
Yeah, Help was great. It's great. And I can't watch Yellow Submarine. Stomach, I can't watch it.
Drug-induced film. Yeah, Christopher Reeve, he's proper, like, stacked in number 2. He's really buff in number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, in Superman 1, his weight is a little inconsistent because he's still training. And number 2, he's like stupidly buff, and like number 3, he's like more toned, and number 4, he's like he couldn't be bothered. Just he didn't bother with much weight, so I don't think.
That I have to point this out. The sound effect that we just heard as the kind of mirror that they're in blows up is exactly the same sound effect that Jack Nicholson's Joker buzzer made.
Oh God! Yeah,
it's the identical sound effect.
Yep. Well, in the day, mate, these are all mixed in the UK, and they've got a huge probably library of sound effects, and they've just gone right. We'll use that. That's what's happened.
Hey Ollie, get your nice fresh melons.
I love this bit coming up because I think Lester made Clark a lot more funny in this one. He's because when Lois goes into her office and Clark's sort of following her, and she slams the door in front of him. He knocks on the door to sort of come in. You know, there's little subtle moments of comedy he throws in. I think are really good.
By the way, I gotta mention that Lois and Clark used this exact same gag.
Oh, when he walks into the car, you mean?
Yeah. I think maybe even in the first episode, except that in that they went even further in Lois and Clark because they had it. I think it was a bus he stops.
Oh,
I forget.
I think it was a pilot episode. You see his handprint. Yeah, that's right. Lois always smoking fags, got a Marlboros. I think it's like Marlboro Reds she smokes. A husky voice.
She's got roller skates on her door. These kind of details are fun. Like they tell you these odd little intimate details about these characters that they never have to come out and start talking about. I think that is a prop master's job, man.
Also, it's a joke as well where she's like trying to keep healthy, but she's smoking as well. So she's like, crushing all these oranges to get a little bit of orange juice.
Yeah, I did like the freshly squeezed orange juice thing and sort of missed it in the Donner cut.
Yeah, I like this whole scene. I think it's really good. It's just funny. It's just good humour, and it's more just that Lois and Clark hanging out,
Boy, we were in a transition point of fashion right here, weren't we?
Oh God, her outfits is a bit shocking, really.
Look at that.
I mean, Margot Kidder's like outfits in all the films. Well, the first one's okay, but 2, 3, and 4, she just looks a bit ridiculous.
Just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, number 4, she looks like her outfits are terrible.
It's just it's a little bit. It's easier, I think, to be a man in modern day because our fashions don't change all that much.
No. Especially for women, it's more difficult, isn't it? You can date things quite quickly.
I mean, yeah, okay, so that looks like a late 70s suit. Like, you wouldn't see a guy wearing that now, but it doesn't look that different from what we wear now. Like,
No, not at all.
Ollie, do you own a good suit?
I own a couple of suits, yeah. Usually you have to get them when you're going for like a job interview or like a wedding, which is like, or like, yeah. Even a funeral, like, oh no, I've got to buy a new suit,
Speaking of interesting personal details, I'll tell you something about myself you probably didn't know. I used to work in a mortuary.
Really? Oh my
I had
God.
to every day, yeah.
Oh God. But you just love the days I just hang around in a t-shirt, don't you?
I actually really like to dress up, but I look for excuses to do it now. Well, there's our bald Lex Luthor.
That's right. It's quite weird, actually. Like, there's a line coming up because he says to the guy, "I want my record back, my Liberace record," and the guy goes, "There's a scratch on it in this one." But in the Donner cut, he says like, his reaction is like, "Tonight," he sort of dubs it over with a different voice. I didn't really understand why they redubbed it.
Oh, that's strange. Yeah, it's like no, I was going to use that Liberace record tonight.
Yeah.
I had plans with that record.
And this sort of scene is obviously, there's little bits cut out as well, haven't they? Because the Donner cut, this scene is extended where Otis says to Luthor that one of the guys wets the bed.
Well, and this was a scene that was entirely made by Donna, right?
That's right, yeah. Anything with Gene Hackman in is Donna.
North.
What? To ski?
Yeah, this material is all just as good as it was in the first film. And wasn't it all shot together, too? Like,
yes, I think with, Gene Hackman was only there for Superman 1, just to all that footage was done. Because they were locked in for dates, so they had to, they were all scheduled in, they had to be there. They couldn't come back to do reshoots.
Whether you like or don't like some of the stuff Lester did, I think that having these scenes in here does help make this movie really consistent with the first film, in a way that it might not have been if Lester had 100% directed it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, when it came out, people didn't know what Donna had shot and what Lester had shot. They just thought Lester shot all of it. It's like, I think Roger Ebert sort of said, like, the diner scene where Clark gets beaten up was really well directed by Richard Lester, and he didn't even know it was done by Donna. So he's, praising Lester for that work.
And if I remember correctly, I think Ebert gave this full marks just like he did the first one.
I think he did, yes. I think Roger Ebert still says Superman the movie is still one of the best. I think up there with Spider-Man 2 as the best superhero films. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think he stopped talking about Spider-Man 2 as one of the greatest superhero films after Begins and Dark Knight.
Oh, right. Okay.
Now he kind of goes back to them a lot more. But if you think about where things were when Spider-Man 2 came out, yeah, it did look like one of the better ones.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's still a great movie. I mean,
definitely. I still love watching it. Yeah, it's still a good film.
This moon scene is one of my big complaints with the movie, because again, I feel like the thing tries to be a science fiction film. We talked about that with the first one, and a lot of it seems kind of grounded a lot of the time, but then there are these really obvious strange mistakes, like people breathing and talking on the moon.
What do you mean? You mean the bits with what do you mean by talking on the moon? Because all the guys are in spacesuits, aren't they?
No, they're in spacesuits, so that's good.
That's fine.
But just because you're a Kryptonian doesn't mean your sound's going to carry through space.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
That doesn't make any sense, and I don't think it's a nitpick. I think even when I was a kid, I was like, how are they hearing them talk? I wondered about it. I couldn't figure out how the guys in the spacesuits could hear what she was saying.
That's something that's never really occurred to me. I don't think anyone I've watched it with, or any people on forums.
Oh, well, maybe
in the past hadn't thought. Yeah, well, that's just your character, though, mate. You like to, go in depth, which is good. I think, you've made a very good, valid point, because it tries to be realistic here, but then obviously they're talking, so it's.
You saw Superman go out in space, but you didn't see him talking to anybody, so I always got the impression that it's like it was in the comics. He just holds his breath. But here, apparently, they can breathe space. Because if they're not breathing space, then how is sound emitting?
That's a good point. Well,
anyway.
as you pointed out, the science in the Superman films aren't particularly.
No, it's not bad. That's cool. Yeah,
they're pretty bad.
Hey, it's not as bad as 4 when we have human beings breathing in space.
Well,
and going through the Earth's atmosphere without burning up.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't profess to know very much about science. I've never been very good at science, so if I notice it, I feel like it's a problem. I do think it is kind of fun, too. It's kind of amusing that, we don't go to the moon that often. And there's astronauts there.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I think, didn't they stop going to the moon at that point? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty sure. Great first shot of Terrence Stamp.
That's really good.
Wow. Doesn't he look menacing and a lot taller than he really is?
Yeah.
Well, I've always said this. One of my favorite things about Terrence Stamp in playing General Zod is that he is one of the, and I think still it holds up. He's one of the scariest comic book movie villains. I mean, he's also funny, but he's funny because he doesn't know he's funny. But he's really short. Like Terrence Stamp is my height, and I just love that.
And he's got a beard.
Who's as tall as me? That's great. I love that. I could play General Zod.
It's kind of like, because he's so unpredictable, he changes his mind quite a lot, doesn't he? Because like we'd know with Lex later on, he's always like, okay, I'll give you Australia. Then the next minute he's like, I'll kill him. You know?
Yeah, he loves throwing people off. I mean, and he does it because he can get away with it. Who's going to stop him?
No one. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, but it's kind of like I think he did a lot of research into it. I think he played it like Hitler, you know, his character. But I don't see much. I don't know similarities to Hitler. But I think by way he sort of composes himself on camera.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think his philosophy is. I could sum up his philosophy in a quote from James Earl Jones in Field of Dreams. Rules? There are no rules here.
I think this set with the guys back at Houston, I think that's actually the Daily Planet set. They've just
That's a good redress.
Yeah, redressed it. Yeah.
Wow. So this film is still paced. I mean, it gets faster paced as it goes along. I think relative to the first one, it's a quicker pacing, but still, like, you know, we're a half hour in and we're just getting to know the villains.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I think with the sort of Donner cut, they did increase the pacing quite a lot. I think it's about 10, 15 minutes shorter, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is.
And also, yeah, the action sort of sped up a little bit as well at the end battle. But yeah, you're right about the pacing. It's paced out quite well. I don't think audiences at this point would be bored. I think they'd be still entertained and still invested in the story. But I think they'd probably be thinking, "Where's Superman? I want to see more Superman." You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that that you get to see them actually launch off and fly off the moon.
Yeah,
looks so good.
I think if you notice in Richard Lester's version scenes or with Terence Stamp, his voice is deeper.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he got the voice better for under Richard Lester, or they may have mixed it differently.
I have read that they did some kind of doctoring to the voice to make it lower, and you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Like there are places where he certainly sounds like they've done something to it. And
yeah, I quite like the deeper sound to it because
I think it's cool.
Later on, he sounds a bit too high pitched. Maybe his voice doesn't seem as threatening.
He's got a great voice, but it's not a real low voice.
Doesn't that police officer look a bit like the new General Zod?
Oh yeah, maybe a little bit. He's got to be the most resourceful supervillain in the history of resourceful supervillains. He can make a hologram of himself and Otis playing chess while in jail. That's amazing. Here's an idea, guys. Maybe you don't give Lex Luthor anything mechanical ever.
That's right.
It's a bad idea. It was probably fun for any diehard Superman fans at the time to see Lex be bald this long.
Yeah, that's right, because he puts the wig on later on, doesn't he? Well, I think it's only this scene you see him without the hairpiece. So
yeah,
once he goes to the North Pole, he's wearing something on his head.
I can't tell if his head's shaved now or if he's wearing a bald cap. It looks like a bald cap to me in the back.
I think he may have shaved it for the first one. I think he may have shaved it. I don't know. I think, the makeup artist pretty much mastered the art of bald caps, and there's a possibility maybe he may be wearing one, maybe not, but
maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean it looks fine. If we can't tell, then it's good.
Yeah, I can't tell. Yeah.
Boy, this is some maximum security prison, isn't it?
They're pretty useless, aren't they? Just need to turn around. Oh, there they are.
I mean, because this isn't just some small time second degree murder or something. Like this guy almost dropped California into the ocean.
Yeah.
Should be a little bit more careful in case
he was dropped off by Superman. You think you'd be a bit more, careful.
Yeah. Personally delivered by Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a big deal. They start calling him a super genius, but then they're not really that worried that he can escape.
Oh, exactly.
I don't know why, but this scene left an impression on me when I was a kid. Something about Superman, like rescuing a kid in Niagara Falls. I think maybe it was because it was a kid.
Yeah, I always loved this scene. But also, I like this, them pretending to be a couple, but Clark obviously taking it a little bit too serious in some scenes, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the banter between the, what was it, the guy at the hotel showing him the apartment. You know, Clark's just sort of observing everything, but trying to stay in character where Lois doesn't seem interested at all.
Well, and it's very layered, because that's where the lines start becoming blurred between who Superman is and who Clark is, because Clark has to pretend to be bumbling, but also really does, care about her and wishes that they were together, so some of that bumbling becomes maybe a little bit real?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe some of that's actually happening. He doesn't have to try as hard to not be Superman because, not wearing the Superman costume, it would be hard to be like that anyway around her.
Yeah, that's right.
I think maybe Lois, maybe this is going too far, but I think maybe Lois does even intimidate him to a point.
What, Clark or Superman himself?
Exactly. But, again, the lines are kind of blurred, right?
Yeah. I think she's being the Lois that she normally is, I think, because she always is a slightly bullyish with Clark and sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
But also when it comes to Superman, she's completely, mesmerized.
But I think that maybe he enjoys being Clark with her, where she challenges him in a way that she couldn't if he revealed to her that he was Superman.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very tacky sort of hotel room. I think just pink. Yeah. Just pink.
It's so exaggerated. It's ridiculous. I'd love to say places like this didn't exist, but they probably did.
Yeah. Do you think, no, because obviously with the Donna cut, you've got this later on scene where obviously she discovers he's Superman. Do you think the sort of screen test idea, throwing that back in, was a good idea?
Obviously it doesn't look real great with the rest of the movie because it is a screen test, but I may be in the minority. I actually kind of prefer that to this.
Right, okay.
Me personally, and I've heard people say that they think that it's out of character for Lois to shoot him, even though it's a blank, which I don't think it is really. But I don't know. I think it's more fun to see her actually take the initiative like that, like in that way, as opposed to throwing herself into Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I suppose because it does show her more of a daring character of hers, where she's gonna break the rules.
Yeah, well, and I mean, she's daring here too. She puts her own life on the line, but she seems a little more foolish. Once, and again, I wouldn't have thought this until I saw the Donner cut, so take that with a grain of salt. But once you've seen her do it the other way, I can't help but think, well, yeah, there are easier ways to make him show you he's Superman if he is.
It's also because in this one she doesn't have enough evidence to think that he's Superman. In the Donner cut, from straight away, she thinks he's Superman.
Oh, good point.
And she's colouring in the newspaper. So she's already sussing something out, then attempts to trick him. Then she speaks to him. But this one, it's kind of like, he's gone to get food, and he saves the kid, and she's like, "Where were you?" He wasn't there. So
now I'm going to take this giant risk and probably get myself killed.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure you're Superman based on looking at you for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. No, I always thought the gunshot thing was really a neat idea.
It's just a shame they never shot that that version properly.
They had to have done that screen test thinking, holy cow, this script is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
What are we making?
Oh, look at her outfit, green. Oh, bogey green.
Say that, it hurts me just looking at it.
Also, now, saying that earlier because she didn't have enough evidence, she does, take his glasses off now.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that bit. Oh, God. It's you just look up and I go, oh, you're Superman. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. She is looking straight at him.
Why did he just put his hand over his eyes? Just look the other way. Oh, clumsy man.
Yeah, well, that's that's what I'm saying, is that now he's not just pretending to be bumbling, he's being bumbling.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, so yeah, he's not thinking straight, is he? He's not, is he?
Yeah, she's getting to him. That's one of the most intriguing ideas in the movie, I think.
That's a really good point.
He's not just pretending now. She is the only person that can turn him into actual bumbling Clark Kent. Good stuff.
So she's doing it reverse to him, where he's making him nervous, and like, oh god, like where she's around Superman, she's nervous. He's now nervous around her.
Boy, this just makes me want to visit Niagara Falls.
Yeah, my friends have been there a number of times. I'd love to go there.
It's a really cool place to actually go shoot on location.
Oh yeah.
Ah, stupid kid.
I know they're
stupid
bad
really.
parenting here.
Man, if Superman was a real superhero, you know what he would do? He would rescue that kid, and then he would take those parents to child. Oh, look at the rainbow.
Yeah, that's really cool. So some of the effect shots here are really good, where when Superman catches the kid, they improved the sort of the optic system where the background plates are really high resolution, so it does look a bit more effective, a bit more 3D.
He sure changed pretty fast and flew right down there. I don't know why it took him so long to get to Paris, but all right.
Yeah.
Or was that Paris? That was Paris, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I was second guessing myself. I was like, where in the world were they? Where in the world is Carmen Superman San Diego? Maid of the Mist.
Number 4.
That's I made sure to put that in my trivia book.
There's a bit of a Dean Cain takeoff there. But that was even far more effective. We just flew off where Dean Cain has to grab his cape and sort of jump off camera.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if then he just stopped and did a really dramatic pose in front of the Canadian flag?
Oh dear.
Clark is nowhere to be found.
And as usual.
Oh, I've got an idea. I'm gonna jump into Niagara Falls.
Oh, Clark's going to leave some change here as he buys his hot dogs. I wouldn't leave any change. I'll just grab all the food and just run.
Yeah, well, that's why you're not Superman, Ollie.
Yep.
But see, I like that he does those sort of role model things. These are family films, and he's supposed to be that kind of role model. So kids are watching this, and it's like, oh wow, Clark's paying for things even though there's nobody around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. I like that.
That's good.
This movie also really makes me want a Coke, man. The product point is really good.
I want to smoke too. It's like there's smoke bits everywhere.
Want a hot dog and some orange juice. So there's a lot of gorgeous photography in this film.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the guy who took over, Bob Paintner, he photographed number 2. I mean, he went on to photograph Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Wow. Cool.
Trading Places. He's a guy. He's well known for bringing in that sort of pop look to films. And he was, I think, he was asked to do Ghostbusters, but he turned it down. And
wow. But
yeah, I mean, he photographed a lot of Richard Lester's films, and he managed to match Jeffrey Unsworth, who did the first films, style very well.
I wish I knew everything like you do.
God, I love that set. That set's amazing.
Is to know as much as Ollie about everything.
I'm a man of useless knowledge. Captain Trivia.
Be a great superhero. Captain Trivia.
Do you know who filmed the film?
I like and then you just trivia and then you sock them in the face.
That would be brilliant. Someone's in trouble. Oh my god, I've forgotten the name of this actor. I'll tell you. And that comes in, just flies off again.
I like this bit with Miss Tessmacher repeating everything Lex says.
Yeah. Doesn't she? I think she wants to find goes. Yeah, she wants to go to the toilet, doesn't she? In the Donna cut, she finds the toilet. So Superman's got a toilet there.
I didn't like that. That was going a little too far for me.
That was just. I think that was just the silly humour they sort of left in, the sort of campy humour.
Yeah,
I never liked that idea.
This scene has a really good mix of, that humor that these two had in the first film, and also progressing the plot along. We've got some story progression going on here while we've also got these silly bits. But not overly silly, just like there's, it's intentionally that way, and it works. I do have to point out that it's a bit odd that Tessmacher is still working with Lex and rescued him after he nearly destroyed the town where her mother lives.
Yeah. I think her character's written in a way in which she just likes the bad guy. She just I think it's just a fault with her personality.
Because I think that there was a little mini character arc for her, because, after all, she rescued Superman.
Yeah. But also, after this scene, she disappears. What happens to her? There's no, mention of her coming back. She doesn't. Yeah, she takes, just like, it would have been interesting if she stuck around with Lex during the course of the film. And possibly, they could have had her being killed off, maybe near the end, where Superman, feels bad for not saving her or something like that.
I never thought of that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, where does she go?
Yeah.
So as it stands, she's pretty much just a plot contrivance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Back to this place.
Oh, watching this on Blu-ray, the effect of you can see Superman's mother in that sort of crystal shape. It doesn't look very good. It's very wobbly special effect. Needs a bit of a clean up, I think.
So the Phantom Zone is, I think, one of the coolest ideas ever in anything.
It is, but didn't we discuss last time, like, it's such a bizarre, what is in the Phantom Zone? Are you trapped in the mirror, or are you in this sort of barrenless, featureless, like, desert, or, like in Supergirl, it's like a weird, sort of like an empty, like, planet, isn't it?
I really think that if Supergirl had never been made, and then later on, obviously, Smallville did it different ways, and we've talked about this. I think that at least at this point, nobody probably questioned it. People probably thought that the Phantom Zone is just in the glass. You're trapped.
Yeah.
The thing is, you got to keep in mind that they got their hands pressed up against it, and they're yelling and screaming out of it like they can see out of it.
That's true. Yeah.
They're in the glass. And she even says here. She almost treats the glass like it is the Phantom Zone, because she's like, it gets cracked. It could get cracked if there was a nuclear explosion. I mean, like, I think that it's radically different from what it was in the comics.
That's true. Oh, actually, I've never actually seen it in the comics. It must be like what way? Was it ever mentioned in the 80s or the 90s? The Phantom Zone?
Oh, the Phantom Zone exists well before that, even.
I thought it's come from like the 60s, maybe, possibly the 70s. Yeah,
where it happened, but yeah. And going back that far to Golden and Silver Age, if Phantom Zone goes back as far as Golden Age, but Silver Age Phantom Zone, I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure if it wasn't just a barren wasteland. It probably was. But
it might have just been this sort of like a world where they're just floating around in this sort of like. I don't know, kind of like when you see in comics where they're sort of trapped in this sort of fantasy world, but there's no, they're just floating in midair, like clouds and stuff. They're just trapped there, I think.
Ollie, you called it. 61 was the first appearance of Adventure Comics 283.
Ah. Oh, she's gonna trick him.
I'll mention this really quick, though. There's also something that predates the Phantom Zone in 1950 called the Empty Doom.
Oh, right.
Which Luthor created as a matter transmitter device to trap Superman in like a limbo.
Ah.
And the idea is that it's a place where he can't touch anything or be seen or anything. So it's
that's quite interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I think they've probably borrowed a few ideas from actually being stuck in limbo, essentially.
Yes.
Swim! Like.
Clark trying.
I love this whole scene with Clark. Clark's brilliant here. I love Chris. Chris Reeve is so good in this scene.
I like it too, yeah.
But he has to use his powers quickly, doesn't he? But he's really weird. He shoots through his
glasses.
When they melt the frame. Oh, God.
That's what I thought.
Or warp his, like, glasses, so you can't wear them.
You're giving me crap for having problems with science. It's at the very least, wouldn't it maybe like expand the beam?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Lens?
I can't just it must have been like slightly afterthought maybe. I don't know, but he could just pull his glasses down. Oh well.
Yeah. Doesn't he in other scenes like actually pull his glasses down or?
Oh God.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Actually. He doesn't.
I'm not.
He never.
He doesn't actually use vision in the first. So
no, in the Donner cut of Superman 2, you see him use his heat vision at the beginning, but it's still through his glasses. But every time later on when he does use his heat vision, he is Superman. So
yeah, it would have been nice if they'd thought of that.
Yeah, love his speak just falls in as well.
In Lois and Clark, they always had him bring his glasses down to use his X-ray vision, which I thought was goofy because they're not real lenses.
Yeah, yeah, and it was always like when he zoomed in on stuff. It's like a PC game. He sort of zoomed in on stuff in the TV show. That was quite funny.
That's telescopic vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really embarrassing, Lois. Maybe you should have a cooler idea, like I don't know, firing a blank at him. That would have been great. I really, really love the General Zod theme.
Oh, definitely. Well, because the General Zod theme was very not really, it's very present in the first film at the beginning for a little bit, where now Ken Thorne comes in and sort of beefs it up a little bit and extends it. So
yeah, I think he abandoned it for something else. I mean, he comes up with something to do with it.
Yeah, he definitely improves. He definitely improves upon that element of John Williams' music. Yeah. But then he uses it again in Superman 3 when Superman turns evil. So it kind of, I always thought when we go to watch that film, I always thought there could have been different music when Superman was evil.
That needs to be reserved for Zod and his Kryptonian cronies.
Yeah, I think so. But is this all the UK when he's walking across the water? Is this like a place not far from here, where I live?
Are these? I was wondering if why Zod has and his cronies have such drastically different robes than anybody else on Krypton.
That's true, yeah. I suppose it's kind of like a...
They're just evil looking.
Yeah, they have to wear black because they're bad guys.
Yeah, well, and they've got like that like insignia thing on them. I don't know. But actually, maybe no. I guess they don't have any markings of any kind either.
Oh, because he's trying to start a new order, wasn't he, in the first one? That was his crime, and I think that was it. Maybe just to try to change everything up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that was like the...
We're not going to wear white anymore, we're going to wear black. It's like, okay.
Uniform new order, right. But it really just makes you look like a ninja or a Jedi.
Yeah.
General Zod, the new forerunner of the League of Shadows. I like how Non is so stupid he can't make his powers work.
That's right, yeah. I think it's just like I think he figures it out, doesn't he, at the end? But he spends...
Oh, he's so proud of himself, too.
I know, he's shooting his lasers at that truck, trying to burn a hole in it.
Look at me! I also always liked his name.
Non, yeah.
Because that tells you everything you need to know. Because it's true.
He knows nothing.
Because he's a non-entity, see?
Now, is Clark does he trip over on purpose here?
That's the question.
I think because we discussed earlier, she's made him clumsy.
Yep, that's what I think too.
Made him nervous.
Why would he? Here's the thing. Why would he do it on purpose? Look how frustrated he gets when he's forced to take his glasses off.
Yeah.
Frustrated. Doesn't he slam his fist down?
That's right. Now, yeah. Coming up, he sort of just like he checks his hand. He's like,
he's surprised. Yeah. Come on, don't be ridiculous. I mean, See? I have heard people say they think maybe he did it on purpose, but why does he get so frustrated?
Yeah, it does.
Need an excuse. Why can't he just do it?
But then he turns around and she says, like, you know, he didn't want to do it, but maybe his heart wanted him to do it, you know. Yeah, so he didn't know why he did that. So it's he's still, I think he's still conflicted what he wants to do. I don't think.
Yeah, I think maybe what he, I could be wrong. Maybe what he means by that is he can't believe that he was actually clumsy and didn't mean to do that. It's like, you know, how did I trip over that thing? I'm freaking Superman.
Yeah.
And then her line kind of confirms that, where it's like, well, your heart's making you do this stuff because you know, really, you'd rather be human than you'd you know, rather be Superman, and that's what the whole rest of the movie's about.
That's right. Because he's always been told not to interfere with anyone, sort of stick to the rules, as it were. Mustn't, you know, he's not obviously supposed to fall in love, is he?
And considering the fact that there were no consequences to it the last time he put her first, why not?
Yeah.
But I do like that this movie handles that better.
Oh, definitely, yes.
And I guess we'll talk about all that, despite the fact that I think that it is far too easy for him to become Kryptonian again.
Yeah, I know. That's the main problem with this one is because there's no Brando in it. He picks up the green crystal and it cuts back to, you know, Washington D.C. where they're in with General Zod and stuff. But then he's Superman again. You know, there's no explanation. So when I was a kid, I was like, what's happening? You know, I want to see him turn back into Superman, you know.
Right. Well, and the thing is, you get to actually see it in the Donner cut, but it still doesn't make much sense, just because in there, Jor-El keeps saying, you know, look, and I think she says it too. Look, once you've done this, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no going back, then shouldn't he have to find some really crazy roundabout way of making it work? Why is it like it's built into the it's built into the chamber? There's a very easy way for him to get back, unless they just say that hoping to God he doesn't do it.
Yeah, he's only human for only like a day, isn't he? And then he turns back to Superman.
I'm saying he doesn't go through stuff. He gets beat up. He has to walk a bunch of miles in the snow. I mean, you know,
he has to walk back to the Arctic. You know, it's like what?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't go through some trials and tribulations, but
yeah.
But it's just, you know, say something is possible. It can't be easy. 'Cause it's... Hey, look, they glow like our red sun. I love that line.
This coming up is that sort of random new special power they have, isn't it? Where they can sort of, because he points a shotgun, doesn't he, at Zod, and he makes it teleport towards him. You know, I thought it was a bit. Yeah, that's a bit.
It's very clearly what Superman's powers are, with the exception of his heat vision. But I mean, he didn't have any cause to use it there. So the fact that he suddenly has it wouldn't surprise anybody, because I think most people, even by this point, probably know, so one of Superman's powers is he can shoot heat from his eyes.
That's right. But
the fact that they suddenly have what I like to call telekinesis beams.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I know. I it was mostly down to just sort of trying to get the crew, the cast to be a little bit more enthusiastic. You know, the director's being replaced to try and keep the morale quite high. Sort of made up their own powers and stuff, and you know, got people to input their own ideas. And it sort of ended up abusing the sort of, you know, Superman sort of background.
I think that it messes with your story, because once you can start making up powers, because it's not just the three evil Kryptonians that have different powers now. So they start making them up for Superman too.
That's right, yeah.
And with the magic kiss, and it actually impacts the story, because what ends up happening is, if you can just invent a power to solve any problem, then problems don't get solved by a character's ingenuity anymore. It's just,
that's right, yeah.
Can do that. And that's why I don't like the magic kiss so much. I mean, it would have been interesting to have given these guys, I don't know how it would have worked, but for some reason they have slightly different powers than Superman does. That would have been okay. But you got to keep his consistent, at the very least.
Yes. I mean, also it was, you know, the super kiss was just done to get this film finished. Think of something just to tie the story up quickly, and that was it. And it is, you know, I think at the time they probably thought, "Oh, we'll be fine, don't worry about it." But in the long term, the consequences of it is, a bit too much.
Future films so much, too, because Superman himself by 3 has telekinesis beams too.
That's right. When does that bit happen?
We know that he rebuilds in 4, like the Great
Oh
Wall.
God, yeah.
Crazy stuff like that.
That's right. That's this. Well, he was in before. He was supposed to do it really quickly, like repair it himself, but budget's been cut, so they have to do it the cheap way. He just looks at it,
and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good thing that there's not too much kryptonite in the world. Because if you're Superman and you've got all these green crystals in your Fortress of Solitude, it would be really easy to accidentally confuse them.
Oh, definitely. I think Superman would be a bit paranoid. Oh, that's green. Oh, I'm staying away from that,
Superman does not drink Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Now it's obviously now we've Richard Donner originally was supposed to, Zod and company were supposed to destroy parts of, like Washington DC in America and things like that. And it's all very much downscaled with this one, where like a small village. And at the time, it did seem, I think as a kid, I think I was a little bit disappointed that all they're doing is destroying a village. But this is all, I think this is all done in the UK as well. So it's very much downscale in comparison to the first film, which is far more grand with its ideas.
Yeah, and it feels downplayed because you've got these huge threats. Oh, and Zod is confused by pie.
Yeah. What is that?
Look, he's still staring at it. How long have you looked at that pie? I've never noticed that before.
Oh, God, no,
Ever. Oh my God, I want that on a t-shirt. Just staring at a piece of pie. That's so great. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a little bit. I love Terrence Stamp. I don't think Terrence Stamp has had anything like the career he should have.
Well, no, when he did Superman, he hadn't been working for 10 years. He went travelling, didn't he? I think he went travelling around the world, and he got a phone call to sort of come back and do Superman, and he sort of became more popular again. But he was huge in the 60s. He's like sort of heartthrob at that point in time. But yeah, I mean, now he's also known for things like The Limey and what else has he done? He's done obviously a lot of TV and stuff. Does voiceovers, doesn't he? Also did Smallville, but
yeah,
and
that sounds just like
wasn't it Priscilla, Queen of the Desert? He was in with what's his name? Oh, Guy Pearce, wasn't he in that?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that. But he's been in weird things, like he was in Yes Man.
Oh God, that's right. Yeah, he shows up in random films, like Malcolm McDowell just turns up in random films.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he'll do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it won't. And if the film's complete rubbish, it won't affect Terrence Stamp's career at all.
No, that's true. That's true. But I think he also maybe doesn't get the respect he ought to because of that.
Yeah, that's just
And I feel the same way about Malcolm McDowell. I think Malcolm McDowell has done far more bad films.
He has, yeah.
He did Home Alone 5.
What? I didn't know there was a Home Alone 5.
Yeah, when it was direct to television.
Oh God.
Or direct to DVD or something. Yeah, isn't that great?
There is no God.
There is no God.
Oh dear, I didn't realise it number 5. God, that's bad.
So anyway, Superman, but I digress. I've got these stairs that go to nowhere.
They go up to the bedroom.
Oh, is that where the bedroom?
You can see in the back. You can see in the background. I think it's his giant hammock for a bed.
Yeah. But what I always thought was weird about that bed is it kind of just looks like the inside of a spaceship.
Now see, Mike, okay, now earlier on about the little village being sort of downscale and things like that. Now, they spent a lot of money to go to another country just to film this very small scene where Superman picks a flower for Lois.
Which is weird because they could have shot this anywhere.
That's right. But they go to, I don't know where they've gone. Is it South America?
Wow, it sure looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, it's gorgeous photography, but like, what's the point?
Just, it's weird where their ideas of spending money. It's like, oh, we'll spend excessively to go to another country to shoot a scene, but we'll do something sort of downscale for, a very important scene with the introduction of Zod into the public domain.
Yeah, which is played far too much for comedy, I think. And I mean, I'm not saying you can't do some comedy with Zod, but and some of my favorite things about Zod are the comedic stuff, like staring at a piece of pie. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's because the comedy comes again from him not knowing he's doing something funny. He's taking himself completely serious, and he's in such an alien place and doesn't know what he calls it Houston and stuff. I mean, like that's funny in a different way from why Lex Luthor is funny. And I feel like having them go to a small town like this is too much of that same kind of, like, Lex Luthor kind of comedy.
That's right, yeah. I
think
think
not working as well with Zod and company. Which would be a great for a variety show, by the way.
Yeah.
he picks up the TV to look at.
Nope. It's like...
who's in there? What? This is great.
Isn't that guy on the left the news reporter? Isn't he from that TV show? Is it Cheers?
Oh, is he from Cheers?
I think he is.
I've seen Cheers. I don't remember. But Ollie, this is a town where everyone knows your name.
Yeah, I didn't realise how short Terrence Stamp is. That doesn't never occurred to me.
Do show us something more interesting, Ursa. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah. Blow stuff up, please.
I mean, Zod, why are you spending so much time just standing around in a small town? Wouldn't you assume that there are like some, giant epicenters or something on this planet?
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Why don't you fly up into space, get a bird's eye view of the planet, and see where all the major things are? You know how long it would take you? No time at all. You can fly. And I'm going to throw this out there, too. And I don't mean to make such a big deal out of the telekinesis beams, but I do hate them. How big of a deal is it anymore that you can fly if you have those?
That's a good point.
Because couldn't you just use that to make yourself fly? At that point, flying is redundant.
Yeah. But I suppose telekinesis, wouldn't you be sort of flying quite slowly? It would require more energy from your brain, maybe. I don't know.
Probably would, but obviously you're thinking about it more than they did, because all it really is just a white beam coming out of their fingers. It might not
finger, yeah.
It was just a beam. I just call it telekinesis beams because it does effectively what telekinesis would.
They should have had something coming out of their fingers, something like Xavier from X-Men, like touching their head, and this little beams coming out of their head and stuff. I don't know. Sort of sonic waves, Oh, he's going to fire the rocket and he bends it in half. That's cool.
And he just catches the rocket. That's cool. I always like that.
I think you should, eat it. Bites the top off.
And then General Zod walks up and goes, "Don't do that. I just found this thing called pie." It's amazing.
It doesn't explode.
Well, at least they got helicopters and stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Not very good at shooting, are they? They keep missing.
No, they're
should have had a rocket hit them, they go flying back through a building, and they're just walk out the building completely fine, but make it a bit more, epic.
Their aim is about as good as Michael Keaton in a Batwing.
Yeah. Oh dear.
It is kind of...
Batman wouldn't be, Michael Keaton Batman wouldn't be good at Duck Hunt, would he, on Nintendo? Anything.
It is kind of fun how much they use their super breath in this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this. Oh, very good miniature here.
Yeah, that looks great.
Fantastic stuff.
Well, now that you've done a sound effect to go up with the helicopter crashing into a barn, I can tell that our movies are synced up perfectly. I do like the modulation of his voice.
Yeah, I think so. I think it works a lot better. It's a lot more intimidating. But also, it is with the play up with him, sort of adding a little bit more humour to him. It does take away the sort of threatening persona. Where I think with Richard Donner, I think Zod is more threatening.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It should be a character Superman is scared of, But Superman seems more terrified what Zod could do to Lois, later on.
Yeah, I think he's fun to laugh at, but maybe I'm laughing at him too much in this version.
What's that weird thing on their table? They've got a sort of weird crystal, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just a table decoration.
Yeah.
But
it's like pepper, you want some pepper with that,
It'd be great if pepper came out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it weird when your whole place is nothing but crystals, like that's your whole motif, and then you've got crystal decorations on the table?
Oh, yeah. It'd be a bit weird if you wake up in the morning like crazy mirrors, you're like trying to find your way out of a room. You're like, ah.
Why do I live in a funhouse?
Yeah.
I do like this idea that she's not cold.
Yes. I think we had discussed before, I think, the idea that when you go in there, it's like, you're not cold and stuff. I suppose the idea all the crystals are surrounding it keeps the heat in. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. There's just some kind of unknown technology built in that keeps the room toasty or something. I don't know. But, I mean, I like the idea that the Kryptonians have this architecture that all comes from crystals, and maybe they can build technology into it to think about things like that, like insulation and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like the idea that in this fortress there is extended parts to it where he has a bed and he's got tables and chairs and stuff. Because you see, earlier on, you can see stuff in the background. There's like another table as well. So you can have parties and stuff, which is good.
So, if this whole movie was nothing but just General Zod giving speeches to people, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I would watch that.
Good training program for...
It's one of my favorites. In other words, you will be allowed to live.
Also, in the Donner cut, you'll find out the general here who now speaks, they dubbed his voice over as well. It's weird.
Why did they do that?
I know, it sounds better in this one than the Donner cut one sounds bizarre.
Huh. Well, that's strange.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have the soundtrack for that anymore or something?
Yeah,
maybe
possibly.
Somewhere else?
It's bizarre. They could just copy and paste it from the theatrical cut. It's just bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah, they could, unless they're just like being sticklers where they're like, no, everything has to come from the film.
Yeah. That's true. This scene here, now obviously because it's with his mother discussing the idea of him taking his powers away, I really like the scene where she says, are you sure? And he's like, mother, I love her. But the music and the way it's directed and the way Chris delivers his lines, it was all very genuine. And
yeah, I agree with that.
It does add, it's a very emotional scene.
Well, and maybe there's a case to be made. Now, again, I still much prefer it with Jor-El, but maybe there's a case to be made that it makes some kind of sense that his mother pops up when dealing with this particular issue than Jor-El because it's about his love for a woman. Maybe it's it's programmed for like when that comes up. Well, that's something that the mom would want to deal with before the dad would.
Like most dads be like, no, go talk to your mother. I don't want to talk about this.
I don't know, and I don't know. Maybe that's two stereotyped gender roles or something. But but I don't know. Maybe that's the case to be made. I don't know.
Now, when he obviously loses powers now, it's really strange effect, isn't it? When you see
a skeleton.
Yeah, you see the skeleton. You see bits of the scenes they cut from Superman the movie where he walks down. He gets set on fire and shot at by the machine guns. They've got a couple of those scenes thrown in. And you'll see in a second, and it's also like this really bizarre sort of animated effect, isn't there? Where you see like strips of his skin come off, and you see his muscles and stuff. It's very bizarre.
It reminds me a lot of the warping back in time sequence in Star Trek 4.
Oh, which bit's that? Oh, yeah. I know, but yeah. But you see that all the it's kind of like you see here what was like an optical effect, isn't it? Where it sort of repeats itself.
Yes, yeah.
It's very weird. I being a little bit too ambitious, I think, at the time. They couldn't really get the effect they wanted.
Yeah, I think so too. But it left an impression on me when I was a kid.
Mm.
I don't know.
And it's a little bit. I was quite sad actually because you see Clark come out, but you see Superman sort of fade away in the background when he exits the little cube device thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Superman's dead. It's like, no!
It was sure nice of the... Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. It's visually interesting. Doesn't make any sense, but it's visually...
It's kind of like Superman has now become Christopher Reeve. You know? Yeah. It's just like how Christopher Reeve looks normally with his hair and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like... It's sure nice of the Fortress to know the kind of clothes he likes to wear.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, dear.
I don't know. He's putting her in a bit of a tough place there too, isn't he? I mean, this is like, well, we just decided that we, wanted to have a relationship, so I'm going to give up my heritage and my powers and my physiology and everything. So, don't break up with me or nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like the way she puts it, she's like, you did that for me, and yeah, he did, but he kind of did it for himself too, right?
Yeah, because he's as he said, in the Donna one, he's essentially being selfish, isn't he?
Yeah, right.
He's thinking about himself, and don't blame him though. He's a guy.
Hey, this is corny. This is so corny.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I love it, but it's so corny. So General Zod turns Mount Rushmore into what I always like to call Mount Zodmore.
Mount Zodmore, that's good.
And then he destroys the last head because there's only 3 of them. And again, boy, they're so much more powerful than they should be, right?
Oh, definitely.
Hey, look, they're inside a spaceship. Where's that multicolored rainbow blanket?
Yeah. He's like, get off my arms, going numb. You can't roll over. He's stuck in the middle. Like,
why are we sleeping in an egg?
Yeah. Give me some room. God.
So it turns out that it's just a very large beanbag chair.
Yeah, it's a giant beanbag. Oh, dear.
I don't know. I mean, I really do like this movie, but there's a few things that just look really funny.
Oh, definitely. This scene's obviously extended more in the Donna cut where you've got Zod grabs a machine gun and shoots people. I think it's really good.
I love all of that. Yeah, why did they feel the need to downplay it?
I know. Because I'd already seen those scenes when it was on Superman 2 was extended for TV in the 80s and early 90s in America by like 20 minutes. So a lot of these scenes were shown on TV. So if you saw Superman 2 in like 88 or 89 on TV, you would have seen this stuff.
Oh, well, that might have made the Donner cut a bit underwhelming then, because you'd already seen some stuff.
I'd seen quite a lot of it. So the stuff I hadn't seen was actually the beginning bit where Lois jumps out the window.
Yeah.
And some of the extended bits at the Fortress and Brando, but some of the scenes on the moon, stuff with Gene Hackman, and this scene as well was all extended on TV.
This is my favorite scene.
I love it. Yeah, it's really good. He's like, oh God, no, Zod.
I see your practice of worshiping things that fly. That is maybe one of the greatest lines in a superhero film.
Yeah.
And I'm not laughing at it. I think it's a great line.
It's going to be so... what's the new guy who's playing Zod? Is it Michael... What's his name again? Is it Shannon or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know how he's going to do his version of Zod. Is it going to be... he's got a lot to live up to.
Hey, look on the desk. Why doesn't the president just use the bat phone?
I think Batman could do much, really, could he?
Oh, well, maybe not.
I have to create some Zod repellent spray.
He's got anti-Zod repellent.
Yeah.
That's just where I was going to go.
I've got mace. Didn't work.
Confound it! The batteries are dead! Yeah, this whole idea of like a aide bluffing to be the president and stuff, that all makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
It works better than Padme and Star Wars.
Oh, definitely.
There is one man on Earth who will never kneel to you. Well, where is this imbecile?
I love the makeup for Zod as well. His eyes are all sort of red as well. Man, his face is so pale, but he's like red eyes. You know,
Terrifying.
Yeah, like he hasn't slept for years. You know.
You know, that's a good point too. Yeah, I mean, he's furious.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do wish they had played up a little bit more the fact that Superman is the son of his greatest enemy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think Zod
you
has
can see Richard Donner there walk past with a pipe in his mouth. Richard Donner there, and it's called Don's Diner. So
yeah,
it just shows this is Richard Donner's scene.
Hot dogs in this movie.
Mm.
This movie is a hot dog kind of movie.
That's right. Yeah, cigarettes, orange juice, and hot dogs.
And hot dogs. You know, I've been in diners that look like this.
Have you? Oh, wicked.
Yeah, I'm actually originally from Arkansas, and we had some places that look kind of like this.
Oh, cool.
A couple places here and there.
I don't think there's anything like this in the UK. Maybe like sort of novelty style restaurants, you know, had that sort of design.
I'm not sure there's much now, but I know when I was a kid there was a couple places that look kind of like that.
Oh, cool. But, you know, Clark coming up now is a bit cocky, you know. He's trying to start a fight already.
Yeah, why?
I know, it's just like, come on.
Yeah, okay,
mate.
the guy's in your seat. There's other chairs. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, sit to her left, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Well unless there's no other chair, then he can move a chair. It'll be fine.
Clark, you're so dumb. Well, you don't have superpowers. I mean, what, did you just forget that you don't have superpowers?
Yeah.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not being fair enough. He is very old-fashioned. And
yes,
so
Clark, yeah.
he's handling this the way you would have handled this in the 40s.
Like, step outside, basically, you know, we'll deal with this, like, you know.
Yeah, we'll deal with this
gentlemen.
like this. But yeah, let's be respectful. And if you're not going to be respectful, I'm going to hold up my honor and kind of the, you know, honor of the country we live in where we don't do this to each other, you know?
Yeah.
Thing. You know, a point of pride, you know, being a quote-unquote gentleman was a point of pride.
Oh, definitely.
So
This whole scene, I love these scenes coming up now because, you know, as he decides to take him on again, but it cuts away to the other people in the restaurant sort of looking in shock. And it's quite, you know, the drama of it's really good. And you don't really see this sort of stuff in, you know, like the Spider-Man series or the Batman films to this sort of extent, you know, just sort of being quite realistic to a certain way.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, everybody's paying attention. Everybody's kind of freaking by this.
We're not really getting involved, but like a lot of people do when there's a fight kicking off. You're sort of just watching going, oh God, you know, seeing it happen. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's obviously a big deal to take Superman and take his powers away, put him in this kind of place. But it happens a bit fast and it's done a bit contrived, right?
Yeah, I think there could have been another scene before the diner where they're sort of hanging out doing something instead of going to the diner straight away. But obviously it's down to pacing and time. But it could have been another scene. There could have been a scene, you know, Lester could have shot just to, you know, extend this scene.
Well, how long is he human before he finds out about Zod? Like all of 2 hours? Like
maybe a couple of hours. Don't know how long. Did Clark have a car parked at the fortress? I don't know.
Where did the car come from?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then why does he have to walk back if they have a car?
Yeah, Lois has stole the car and gone back.
Well, Lois just
Clark, you got to walk home, mate.
I never thought about that before. Well, none of that makes any sense at all, does it?
Yeah. I don't care. I love this movie. I don't care.
I love it too. Hey, we got to talk about it for 2 hours. We might as well point out everything that's not working.
I love this scene. It's really good because Clark is now realised his error and he's, you know, like terrified.
And they did do a really good job of earlier on, you know, having that bit in the fortress where Lex learns about Zod, so you'd know that Superman has heard of Zod.
Yes. Because he's obviously because when he did 18 years at the 12 years at the fortress, you know, training, you know, he would have had he would have been told about it.
Actually, it is his fault because he threw the thing that blew up the fortress, or no, the Phantom Zone.
Oh yeah. So I threw the elevator into space. Oh damn.
and I don't like that he doesn't. It never really connects with him that this never would have happened if I hadn't thrown that. I'm not saying there needs to be
If I threw it the other way, if I threw it into the sun, it would have been fine.
Why is he walking? I don't understand. They drove it. They had to have driven away from it.
The weird thing is, as a kid, I thought the lorry driver, right, was the guy who beat him up for some reason. I don't know why. As a kid, I thought that's why the guy doesn't stop. I thought, no, it must be the guy who beat him up. I don't know why. I thought that.
He's way farther away from there by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this now really bothers me. Because
he would have died. He would have died, frostbite and just froze to death. So
that too. But look, he's walking through this frozen tundra where there are no roads. How did they get to that diner?
Yeah, that's one of the big flaws, really.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Now this scene here, I mean, with the Donner cut when Clark comes back to the fortress and he, apologizes. He's obviously trying to get his father's attention. Then the green crystal sort of glows. Chris's performance is a little off, I think. The way he shouts out "father," the way he delivers it is not very good. I think by this point when we did this scene, it is absolutely perfect. And, he's sort of, apologizing and he screams out "father," it works really well.
It'd work better if Jarrell was, in this movie. I think
definitely,
I think that would probably confuse people that either hadn't seen Superman in a while or, for whatever reason, watched this and didn't watch the first one. Why is he yelling out for his father? All we've seen in this movie is his mother. I mean, this movie really kind of stands alone, even though, obviously, it does, relate to things that happened in the first film.
Mm. Yeah, because that's it. As a kid, I was thinking, when he shouts out "father," it's like, we haven't seen his father, since the first film. So it is a bit.
But again, they're having to pull together scenes shot from two different directors. Essentially, it's like piecing two movies together and making it one. Works relatively well considering how crazy that process is.
Yes, definitely.
Right? I mean, this could have been a freaking disaster.
Oh yeah.
And this is not a disaster. This is a solid.
No. It's a solid sequel, very good sequel. I mean, it's most superhero films. When the sequel comes along, it's never as good as the first one. I think a lot of people thought this was better than the first one. I think over time, a lot of people prefer the first one, which I still prefer the first one. But it is
technically a better movie. I could see people enjoying this one a great deal more.
Yeah.
Or at least in my opinion.
It's more digestible. It's more like, I think with my friends who aren't really into Superman and they don't mind watching one, they quite like watching Superman 3.
What?
Because it's very easy to watch. You don't have to be. It's not a sequel. The story is also a sequel, but it stands on its own. It's not a continuation of one film, so you can't just put Superman 2 on and go, they're like, what's happening? What happened in the first film? So you can put on the third one, and it's very easy. It's got a bit. Some of my friends like the humour, and it's a good film when you're drinking alcohol to watch as well. So, and Superman turning evil. I mean, that's just great.
Well, that'll be fun to do with you, because I find that movie almost entirely unwatchable.
Really? Oh, I love it.
It's
a guilty pleasure. Well, it was the first Superman film I ever saw as a kid, so it's always going to be,
Well, that'll be fun. It won't be just two guys going,
still rubbish. There's some nice stuff in Superman 3, but yeah, it's a bit of a letdown.
So this is technically the first supervillain team up.
Yes. Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Before
we always think
Batman
of it as Batman Returns, but this really is the first one, and it's great because it's not hacking, it's not thrown together, it's not we've got two villains so they have to get together. I mean Lex deliberately tries to join with this guy, and then ultimately it doesn't work out because Zod's like, well, who are you? Who cares?
Yeah.
I'll use you for the one little good thing you're good for, and then I'm not even going to give you Australia.
Yeah.
but I love that. That's what he wants. With a stogie in his mouth. Australia.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, okay, so that is there. I forgot where he says, "Revenge, we will kill the son of our jailer." So that's there. He's got a very clear motivation beyond just, "Hey, look, a planet, let's take it over."
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously there is other scenes where he'd sort of mentioned his father, but he sort of but they were sort of trimmed. But
so his motivation is made very clear.
Oh yeah.
Good. I forgot about that.
I love that line. He goes, "Wait!" He sort of like has to stamp his authority down to get his attention.
Just Lex smoking.
Yeah. He's just standing outside the door, just going, "What do you want?"
And Lex is sitting where the president sits. That's great.
I mean, it kind of feels like the whole city's empty. You know what I mean? Because they should have had a shot outside where everything's all destroyed and stuff. That would have been really good. But they don't have that.
That was a great transition. I never noticed that before.
That's really good, yeah.
He says Australia, and then we zoom out from a globe on Australia. Good stuff. Perry White's putting everything in football terms.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. I'm trying to decide on his bookshelf if that is a book turned sideways that he just couldn't fit that says Indian Sculpture, or if he has a board game called Indian Sculpture.
Really? I didn't see that.
I never noticed it before.
It's so bizarre. We're noticing stuff I've never seen before, and I've seen it hundreds of times. God.
Well, that tells you that's a pretty good film. And that's some great cinematography there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, bending the mirror, like wobbling.
That's
good direction.
Shaking, yeah, good stuff. I am General Zod, and I'm going to destroy a newspaper! This bit coming up where Perry White gets his head smashed into the ceiling, I found that entirely violent.
It's like, why would it knock him out? It's like the ceiling is like really, it's like paper.
That's true, although
it's like those really cheap ceiling tiles you see in like in office blocks.
It's pretty darn hard, though. I don't know. When I was a kid, it bothered me a little bit.
I love that bit. Bounces off his head. Dong.
Yeah.
Does a judo chop.
Breaks the table for it. Yeah, this whole thing's really great. Oh yeah, that shouldn't have knocked him out at all, should it?
No.
And like just
That's supposed to hurt.
Yeah, well, you know what? That didn't. Yeah, that wasn't anything like as effective as I remembered. Lex's character is so consistent from the first film. I really like that.
Yeah.
Still, all he's about is land.
Yep. He's a doorknob. I love that line.
This could have been done in such a way where you wished that Lex would just stay off screen and give us time for Zod, but I never feel that way.
No, not at all. He works so well. Like, they play off each other so well, you know. And also, it's really bizarre. There's some great lines with Gene Hackman, and in the Donner cut, they trimmed a couple of the jokes out, which is really bizarre, because everything he says in this film, all the jokes work really well.
Yeah, that's true. It's like they were just trying to make sure it wasn't too long.
Possibly.
I think there was also a little bit of, let's not use any Lester we don't have to.
Well, this was all Donner, you know. Everything with Gene Hackman's Donner, and they trimmed some of his lines, which is very strange.
Really weird.
Yeah. I always loved this bit when Superman came back, you know.
Man, what would you give for one of those newspapers, Ollie?
Oh no, my friend, I think a few people online have got a few of the props from the film.
Yeah,
I would love to have that newspaper.
They have that. I would frame that. I would put it in my Superman-themed bathroom.
Yeah. Went out toilet paper one day. I'm gonna have to use a newspaper.
That wouldn't work. That'd be terrible. Kneel before Zod! Yes!
Oh, I love that line. That's so good.
I have heard that it is apparently confirmed that line will not be in Man of Steel.
Oh! Rubbish.
I hope that's not true.
Oh.
Because I'm sorry, that is Zod's signature line. That would be like including Bane in a Batman movie and not having him break Batman's back.
Exactly.
Man. Gotta say it. I'm sorry. That's Zod's thing. Gotta say it. Neil.
You've got to have him deliver it at one time in that film, and he delivers it so, like, you know, so threateningly. Yeah. That'd be good. You want to make your hair stand on end, you know.
Really, like, how hard is it to, like, believably find a place for him to say that line?
No, exactly.
It's not hard. Now, I will say that some of these scenes here, some of this action stuff is not as thrilling as what Donner shot.
No, well, there was two scenes he'd shot were actually were for the Superman 2 trailer, where he gets punched into the Statue of Liberty, and there's another shot where Superman punches Non. Now,
is the Coke sign in this version?
That's Richard Lester. Now, Donner only shot a couple of scenes for the fight scene, and what they did in the Donner cut was speed up a lot of the action to sort of give, and the editing's a little more fast paced to make it more modern, because it's very traditional the way it's cut. The fight scene here it's a bit dated, it's a bit clunky, put it that way.
I gotta ask you a question. We just talked over it. Why would a big cement block explode?
That's a good point. Yeah. It would have just cut in half, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird. Like, what was in it? A reactor? What was in it?
Stuff with TNT. No, I don't like this effect shot here. You can see the boat the cameraman's on. You can see like the waves.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the optical effects in number 2.
It's the first person perspective from somebody driving a very fast boat, Ollie. That's what it is. Have you noticed that they also did the voice modulation thing in post for Ursa also sometimes?
That's right, yeah, her voice is deeper.
He says Superman right there, you can kind of hear it.
See, who was it? They threw in this other character who didn't like Lois that much, didn't they, in number 2?
Yeah, why?
I don't know why she was thrown in. And
why does she seem okay with, like, General Zod taking over the planet?
Yeah, she's quite mean.
Doesn't seem to mind much. It's like, it's just a regular day in the life of living in a comic book world. There's another supervillain trying to take over everything, and the White House surrendered again.
I love this bit where she whacks him, and the guy's like, wow, home run. That's really good.
I could have done without some of the reaction shots from the random townspeople.
Oh, that's Lester in it, yeah. Because it takes away the drama of what's happening. It should be. I think Donner would have shot something a lot more serious in tone. Yeah. It would have been more of a threatening and maybe had like Zod and Ursa hurting the people as well to upset Superman.
And especially, well, they do a little bit of that, but I mean,
yeah.
It especially gets really corny when they start blowing all the people trying to...
Yeah, you see people's wigs fly off. That's so funny.
Goofy.
Yeah. My ice cream.
It's like 30 slapstick all of a sudden. Look, no, the girl with the baby carriage.
She just stands there like a lemon. She could just like move like...
Run, everybody else did. Everybody else around you just left. Hey, thanks a lot. I'm a total moron, and without you, I'm dead. Call child services. This whole movie is just filled with idiot mothers that should have their children taken away from them.
It's true. Oh, that's an incredible special effect. Look at that miniature. Amazing.
But see, that's a great plot point. You know, Zod realizes that his one weakness is that he cares for people.
Yeah.
And I love that they don't understand him. Ursa says, like pets?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I suppose so. Obviously we're superior to them. I can't think of what else he would be thinking. All right. Surely he can't think they're equals. That would be madness. Hey, look, he's actually blowing up things that would blow up.
Exactly. Shoots like Kentucky KFC and explodes, exploding chicken. I'm General Zod. Take that, Colonel Sanders. Yeah.
You're only a colonel.
Now this is for the time, having a huge battle in the superhero film, like Metropolis was like one of the first to do it. Well, it's the first to do it, isn't it?
It is.
It hasn't really been. Wasn't till later on. I suppose. Well, with introduction of Batman, it's got Gotham City as a big battle, as it were. But it's quite down. It's downscale in comparison to this.
Like this, that That was mostly in a church.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
mean,
I love this scene when he bends the light. That's fantastic.
These days, I don't think you can hardly get a superhero film without a giant battle in the middle of the city.
Yeah, now it's commonplace, really.
Yeah, everywhere. And we've already seen a lot of footage of that from the Man of Steel trailer. We know there's going to be a lot of buildings falling down in this movie. Right.
But it'd be so funny if it comes out and you're like, yeah, it looks amazing, but it's not as fun as Superman 2. You know what I mean? That was when Matrix Revolutions came out, because at the end, Neo fights the dude in the big city.
Right.
So a famous critic came along and said, it looks more spectacular than Superman 2, but it's not as entertaining as Superman 2.
Why are we comparing that, of all things, to Superman 2?
I don't know. Because of the fight in the city. That's the closest I can think of.
Okay, but it wasn't even a real city.
Oh, that's true.
It's inside the Matrix with a bunch of other agents standing on the road.
It's in the city, goddammit.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. Wow.
It would have been quite cool if they filmed it under the sewers, doing that scene under the sewers. That would have been good.
I'm sorry, what
it would have been good to see them fight in the sewers, but you don't really see it.
Yeah, it's off. It's kind of fun off screen. I mean, obviously they're doing it for budgetary reasons, but it still looks kind of big.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have been quite cool to see Superman lump him one and see him go flying out of the ground. Polystyrene rocks. Ow.
But all of this is not as spectacular as like the lava and everything we were talking about from the last movie.
Oh yeah, the tinfoil. That's amazing.
Oh man,
that is cool.
He just got hit with a manhole cover. I like that though. It looks cool. I love how we're supposed to get an anchor in for cigarettes.
Yeah.
While we're watching Superman and Zod fight. Everything they blow up in this has a product placement on it. It's like, we'll blow up.
The Sogpines needed to make some more money, didn't they? They need to pay for it.
We're going to blow up a Coke sign, so go drink some Coke. And just about all their product placement is on stuff that gets busted up.
And had Mother Care in the background. I should have blown up Mother Care. That'd been quite funny.
Yeah, that is funny. But no, I always thought the blowing up the Coke sign looked pretty good.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Well, that was sort of one of the shots I used in the trailer, so it's, also iconic sort of moment. There's loads of iconic shots in Superman 2. I remember when Superman Returns came out, it had loads of publicity stills from the film. And none of the images looked iconic at all. You wouldn't, in a few years ago, I'd love to have a photo of that, but there's so many scenes from these films that make great photographs,
That's absolutely right, yeah.
Oh, this scene's absolutely spectacular how they filmed it. When they throw the bus at him, it's literally a tiny miniature shot within camera, just thrown at the camera at a certain speed to make it look huge.
Do you think if this movie hadn't been as successful, that we wouldn't be as obsessed with villains with giant revenge motives?
Possibly. Yeah.
I think we still probably would, but just because it's easy. But still, maybe not. I don't know. I just think it's funny that like Zod does something in this that I think that we would find corny now, when he just flies around yelling "Revenge!"
Yeah.
I love how they think that would actually kill Superman.
Oh yeah, it's just I suppose you've got to think of it as, if punch Superman in the neck, it would hurt him, because it'd be like hurting another human, wouldn't it? Because their strength is the same. So the impact of it would hurt Superman, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah, well, and of course that's how they kill. That's how he gets killed in the comics. It's not kryptonite; it's brute force.
Yeah.
By another being that can take him.
That's right. So if they all ganged up on it, all three of them, they'd be able to kill him. Just break his neck. Dead. Take that, ice cream. Want any more chicken? Yeah, take away your chicken.
Oh, it's so silly. Why are we doing this? And can I ask you a question? Why is everything business as usual inside these places? Yeah. All this is going on outside.
Yeah.
That's so silly. Really, they're in there. They're in there just like continuing on with their restaurants and their
wigs. Oh, brilliant.
Doesn't make any sense. Everything would be closing down. It would be a state of emergency.
Exactly. People are like, there's a fight going on, but I fancy some chicken, you know.
It's like the guy in the phone booth. He's still talking.
That's pure Lester. That's slapstick, you know, comedy. He's just laughing his ass off. That's so funny.
Talking. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Why did that car explode?
Well, that guy got an anchoring for some Marlboro, and hey, Doom. That guy must actually be Rorschach from Watchmen.
Awesome. Oh, great. That's a really good miniature.
It's silly. I guess I didn't think of it as that silly when I was a kid. Just because...
I thought it was...
Roller skates?
Yeah, blowing roller skates. I didn't think I found it silly. I just found it amusing. But when you get older, it just, as I said earlier, it takes away the drama of what's happening, and it seems very much out of place.
We're supposed to laugh at ice cream flying off. I mean, I realize he climbs right out real fast, but still, like...
Yeah.
You think Superman standing right there would think that was funny?
It would be funny if the ice cream flew in his face right now.
If everything they've been through, he stands there.
Weak, you know.
Oh my God, that guy's still laughing on the phone booth, and it's a phone booth. What an irony! Ha ha ha!
Oh, Superman's fed up. I'm going home. See, this is really good now because the drama comes back in where everyone's saying, "Don't leave us," you know, and everyone's upset. But if it didn't have that humour earlier on, this scene would be far more powerful.
Yeah, because all those people, or at least a lot of them, that are yelling, "Hey, don't come back," weren't even paying attention to the giant fight outside before.
Exactly, yeah. Why you chickened out? He had a bus thrown at him. God, so ungrateful, these people.
And there's way too much chicken in this scene, too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think your victory is completely complete if he left. Because that means he's maybe, I don't know, like, licking his wounds so he can come back.
Oh, exactly.
It's an odd line, really.
You should go see Batman and go get the kryptonite he gave him.
Right.
I want a favour. It's like...
I am glad that they didn't feel the need to bring kryptonite back into this movie.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's like kryptonite kryptonite turns up in number 3, doesn't it? Well, yeah. That was it. You know, it doesn't... Surprisingly, it doesn't turn up that much. I love that line. Crush the son of our jailer.
And I mean, you know, they do still ultimately get beaten by kind of an easy plot device like that, but at least it comes from Superman's ingenuity. And
yes, definitely. He tricks him, doesn't he? So it's...
So we can be impressed with our, you know, with the hero of the piece, you know, with our protagonist, and also, you know, see him kind of learn something and...
Yeah, he doesn't have to beat them up. He doesn't have to defeat them with brute force. He uses his intelligence, you know.
I don't like that he seems to kind of kill them.
Well, I suppose, yeah, I mean, he does essentially kill them. In a Donner cut, they get arrested at the end. Well, no, sorry, because he obviously reverses time. But
I don't think it's even in the Donner cut. That was in
the TV version and the deleted scenes. The police arrive and they arrest General Zod and they get sent to prison.
Yeah, so I guess they just got dropped down like a slide that comes out the other side.
Yeah.
But
happy slide. It's like, way!
If that had been in the movie, I couldn't complain about it, but it's not here.
Yeah.
So it does come off as Superman being kind of anti-Superman.
Yeah. But I think it was because they've hurt the people he cares for. I think Superman would be like, right, you're gonna die. You know.
You think?
I think so. Well, I think possibly Chris Reeve's Superman, he'd be a little bit more aggressive, maybe.
Maybe so. And here comes the big goofy plastic ass.
Oh, yay!
Where did he get that? Why does it disappear? Is it biodegradable? That is the most biodegradable plastic I've ever seen.
Definitely. Oh, we got the powers out of their fingers.
Okay, so he's like trying to stop their telekinesis beams that apparently are...
Make it go red.
Why aren't they just using heat vision? Does he also have telekinesis beams? He never uses them?
Maybe that's because he has... Was it the power? Superman doesn't use it, but then he has a teleporting power, doesn't he? He can make multiple copies of himself in a minute.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, it was just basically because they needed this final act to have a battle as well, because you've got to fight in Metropolis, but then you wanted another battle as well, but they needed to come up with something, and this was it at a short period of time, because they had such a short production schedule on Superman 2.
It would just be really fun to know what in the world is actually happening in the scene. What I'm looking at right now. Okay, what does that mean? He said, we used to play this game at school. That doesn't make sense.
It's like playing hide and seek or something. I don't know.
I guess. Maybe that's what he means. Because if it's just something Kryptonians do, first of all, they don't have those powers on their planet. And second of all, he didn't go to school there, so I don't know what any of that means. But no, you're probably right. He probably just means hide and seek, but it's not clear and it's goofy. That could have just been like a hologram device he had in the fortress. They could have done it that way. And then but as it is, they're all doing it. And
they could have had a scene beforehand where Superman's fiddling with the crystals before they arrive, the control panel to sort of insinuate something might happen. He could do something. But he has already tricked them already, hasn't he? Because he's already reversed the powers, hasn't he? At the end when he tricks them, so he has already done something.
When they're all disappearing like that, is Superman causing all that to happen, or are they all doing it?
I think they're all doing it.
I don't know.
Can't
tell. Is he just messing with them, or are they all doing it? I don't know.
So obviously this scene was extended with the Donner cut, where it's a little bit more. There's more interesting dialogue they've cut out in this version, and they should have left in. But
yeah, it's interesting that both cuts have that in places where something gets cut out that you can see in the other one.
Yeah,
you almost have to watch them both, and it becomes a big research project. It's irritating.
Oh, definitely. But no, because when I watched this one, because you see Superman about to run at Non, but. Because obviously in the Donner cut you see that, but in this one you don't see it. It's because I know when it's going to happen. It's very peculiar when you see it. Oh, that scene doesn't turn up. It does seem a bit strange watching it now.
Superman's good at poker, though.
He is, isn't he?
I mean, look at him. He looks very much like he's been defeated. He looks pretty desperate.
Yeah, he's got a good poker face.
He knows what's going to happen. Reeve is just excellent. And I think he and Terrence Stamp, for what little screen time they get together, have really good, hero-villain chemistry.
That's a good point, actually. They don't have much screen time, like, face-to-face,
It's a lot like... And I don't think that this relationship is as good as what I'm about to mention, but it's a lot like Kirk and Khan and Wrath of Khan. They're not on screen very much.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
Think about them as, arch enemies.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, what a great shot. You're talking about shots that look good, just taking a photo of. And like Zod standing there looking triumphant in red. It's cool.
Yeah, that's quality. Oh, it's coming up the scene where you see Superman's sweat patch under his arm.
Oh, God, so silly. I like how he's hunched over a little bit, where he's trying to make them think that he's really weakened now.
Oh, yeah.
Reed has a really good command of the scene. He knows what's on the page, and he can bring it to us. I don't think anybody knew what was on the page when they were.
I think this would have taken loads of people by surprise at the time when I saw this for the first time. It would have been like, wow, amazing to see.
Seeing the look on Zod's face, remember, he wouldn't remember really what pain feels like.
Yeah. Crush his hand.
He would, it's been so long since he was on Krypton and was kind of a mortal person. Now he's on Earth and he's got all these powers. He wouldn't expect to feel pain again.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, look at his face. I mean, I don't think that's silly. That's how you'd react.
He's like stunned, isn't he? He's completely frozen, like ah. Ooh.
And now he's going down the water slide.
No, see, I always thought the way Non is defeated is really lame, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like, he figures out he can't fly, he just goes, falls down a hole. But it should have been something, a bit more. Maybe Lex could have tripped him over and he fell down a hole,
Yeah, but they're already going to do that with Lois.
Oh, that's just a good point, yeah.
Well, I guess she punches her. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want Lex to look very heroic. We don't want Lex to push one.
Yeah, because he's supposed to. Yeah.
Plus, it wouldn't make this whole double cross line here as funny because then Lex like, I was with you the whole time. Like,
yeah.
What it was. So I mean, I think that it would kind of take away from that joke if you would.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. The way he drops is kind of silly. By the way, I know we said this last time, but this set still looks amazing.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's just a huge shame. Like in Superman Returns, it just looks so bland, but it looks absolutely stunning. And even that shot there, where they're flying away from the fortress. Oh wow! Yeah. Great piece of artwork.
Yeah, it is. And the way they actually have the light seem to be coming from it, and it not just looking like a painting.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not sure how you do that. I don't know.
It's I think that shot there was actually half miniature and matte painting. Obviously now coming up is the infamous kissing scene, but as I think it still works as the way how the scene is played out and how it's written and how they act. It's really quite emotional. But it's just obviously the idea of him kissing her and she forgetting is a bit it's a very weak idea.
I also think it's somewhat of a cheat for the audience.
Yeah, it is.
I really do. I mean, she knows he's Superman through most of the film. We buy that. I think ultimately you made some good points about this, but I think by the end of it we kind of buy that she figures it out on her own, and that's a good character thing, and she gets reset back to the beginning.
Yeah,
that's never a good thing to do for a protagonist or a supporting character who's nearly. I'm not gonna say she's a dual protagonist, but I mean she's somebody that we care about. You shouldn't do that to your characters. It's a cheat for the audience. It's like, look, this isn't the George Reeves TV show. You can have that kind of plot progression happen in your film series. It's okay. You don't have to reset it at the end.
I suppose with it being in the 80s as well, I think audiences were, wanting more, and they could have had Lois know he was Superman for the next film as well, and had something a bit more, to the characters. There showed some progression as well. Like the idea of, in Superman Returns where Lois has a child, the idea some people weren't happy with it, it's quite ballsy to do that.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about that when we get there.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's a really good way you put it. Be bold, do things like this. Lois raises some really good concerns here about how impossible it's going to be for them to be happy together.
Yeah, that's why I think this scene makes it really stand out. And
that's great, but how about we make her have to live with it?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the bittersweet ending. I mean, I guess I feel like we can't have a bittersweet ending. It's got to be everything's on a high note like it is at the end of at the last one. But here's the thing. This should be the consequence to his actions. You know, he's not supposed to interfere, and he does. And yeah, so he ends up getting to be Superman again, and that's not the ultimate consequence. The ultimate consequence is he's not allowed to be happy. So I mean, like, he still kind of has that, but it's too easy for him because he doesn't have to watch her be unhappy, and he should, because he did this to her.
Yes, that's right.
You see what I'm saying? And
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
It's not quite right.
It's kind of like, you know, the audience. Obviously they make her forget because they don't want to. They shouldn't be leaving her upset. Clark should be the one. Superman should be the one who should be suffering really for what he has done, and that's the consequences of what he's done. You know, of his actions. But it is kind of like, you know, it's that Hollywood way of just resetting things, you know, and just keeping an audience happy. But also the idea, I mean, obviously originally it was supposed to be reversing time, and that wasn't supposed to be the ending of Superman 1. And if that was left intact, then there wouldn't be any issues. Obviously, reversing time is still a silly idea.
Silly idea, yeah.
But in the context of all...
Is it really effective storytelling?
Well, yeah.
You know,
yeah. You pointed out that is not really an effective way of storytelling, reversing time. It is a very cheap way to.
Well, it's never effective to take your characters to a place and then reset them right back to where they were at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because as you say, it's cheating the audience as well. You know.
I think that yes, like I said, he has to live with this, that they can't really be together, and so he remembers all of it, and so I guess that's supposed to be enough for us, but I still feel like he gets off a little too easy.
Yes, he does.
Maybe that's, you know, I'm not being quite fair to him because he's expected to be perfect all the time, but that's the point, you know, that's the sad thing about being Superman, is that you can't really have a personal life ever.
No, because Superman's always, you know, essentially. That's what makes him sort of a very interesting character for a lot of writers, because he has all these. You think he's very 2D, but he's not. He has so much more to him about his idea of him being alone, and he can't be with people, and you know, it's quite depressing sort of life for him. You know, even though he's saving everyone and everyone, you know, loves him, but he's always going to be alone. You know.
Yeah, it is good that he has that really depressed look on his face before he. You know, I mean, like, he's a little tortured by all this.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Okay, I will give it this. If the man has the ability and somehow, and I don't know how he would know he could do that, but if he's, or rather, has the ability to make people forget things, and he's not usually going to use that because that's really manipulative. That's why I hate it when he uses it in 4. Because that's just hilarious. It's like you're going to cause her brain damage. Quit doing that.
Giving her dementia really early on.
If he had that power, he would probably feel like he had a responsibility to not make her, you know, have to live this, you know, sad, tortured life that he has to live.
Yeah.
That's okay, except that it's a contrivance just to make that happen in the first place. That's why I don't like it anyway.
It's nice they wrap up this scene as well, but because Superman doesn't throw a punch, which is good.
Yeah, that is good. I wish they had not left this in the Donner cut.
Really?
Because it makes no sense.
Oh, because he's reverse time. Yeah, he's just going in there.
I wouldn't remember.
It's true. Yeah.
It took me completely out. I actually liked the Donner cut a lot less after it ended, just because of the scene.
Oh. Yeah,
but anyway,
the guy, they wouldn't even remembered. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have ended it with Superman carrying the flag then, you know.
Yeah, but they didn't do that because...
Oh, because no point, because it's all...
The flag wasn't messed up. I mean, that's why you can't do the reverse time thing, because nothing happened.
Yeah. Ah.
You know, and people complain that that's a ridiculous superpower, but at least they kind of play it with the reversing time thing like it's, you know, part of his flying really fast thing, which also begs the question, why did it take him that long to get to Paris?
Exactly.
But here it's just, he's got these powers, we're just going to give him, we want him to have a power that he can do something. But this is an iconic image.
I know, I love it, yeah.
See Superman standing next to an American flag. And flying with it. That's so cool.
Definitely. I've got a picture of that somewhere.
I won't let you down again.
Yeah.
That's a really great line to end the movie.
Oh, yeah, and looking at the flag, it's you know.
Zoning up to it. That's good stuff. I mean, I liked it. It's not like the ending of the last movie where, like, he did something he was warned and warned and warned against doing, and then the movie never does anything with it. Here it's like, yeah, you screwed up, Superman, and then you fixed it, so that's good.
Yeah, and he apologizes, you know.
You know, they make him a person.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that was fun.
One thing I haven't actually mentioned actually. I did actually meet the composer of Superman 2
Interesting.
and 3. This is in early 2000. I managed to get hold of his agent, and I said, you know, because Ken Thorne had never spoken about Superman, his work on Superman during that period, last 20 years, and Ken, you know, I think at this point he's semi-retired, and he was more than willing to talk about everything on Superman 2 and 3, what he did. And I managed to meet him. He came over to the UK on holiday during one summer, because he originally was from where I live, like around the Cambridge area. And we met in a pub and had a few drinks and discussed his work, and that was fantastic. And then I said to him, "Would you want to see your music remastered?" And he's like, "Oh yes, definitely," you know. And then I thought to myself, well, I contacted the guy who remastered the Star Wars soundtracks. It's called Michael Matessino. He's remastered tons of film scores and remastered DVDs and stuff. And I think he did a documentary on the first Alien film back in the late 90s. And I said to him, you know, would you be able to get this sort of the soundtrack sort of release or get it into motion? And he said, oh, well, I'll see what I can do. And it took a number of years to get the ball rolling. But they managed to find all the music once Warner Brothers shipped all the stuff that was shot for all the Superman films from the UK over to the USA for the DVDs back in 2006. And once Superman Returns was going to come out, Warner Brothers said, yes, you can release this box set of all the soundtracks. And, obviously, he did a lot of the work. I just basically, trying to find the material during that period of time because I didn't know where it was, all this music. And I contacted some of the guys who did some of the pop music for Superman 3 called Keith Forsey. He wrote the music for, The Breakfast Club. And what else did he do? I think it was Neverending Story he worked on. But once, it came out, the soundtrack came out through Film Score Monthly. You can buy the box set from I think, screenarchives.com. It's quite expensive, though. It's like £130 or $130. And, but I was credited in the book. And Ken Thorne,
wow.
Yeah, Ken Thorne phoned me up and goes, Oliver, if it wasn't for you, this soundtrack set would have never happened. Which I was completely overwhelmed by, because I thought
that's amazing, man.
I thought that's ridiculous because you've got to thank Michael and the people at Film Score Monthly because they did all the effort. But supposedly, if I hadn't suggested the idea or got Ken to get involved, it may have not happened.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, that's great.
So that was just you looking up names, doing research, trying to find people.
Yeah. Wow. So if anyone is listening who's got the Superman, the big box set, the big blue box set, look at the back. And to special thanks, you will find Oliver Harper.
Oh, and it's actually on the back of the box set.
Yeah, but you get a massive big book with the set as well, because it's one of the best soundtrack sets you can get.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to look for that.
Yeah, it cost you a pretty penny. But yeah, I also got my book all signed and stuff, which is quite nice of them. So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, that was my little trip.
That is easily the coolest story anybody has ever said told on one of these commentaries. And with that, we'll go ahead and leave everybody. Thanks a lot for listening to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. Oliver, thanks a lot for being with me doing this commentary.
No problem.
And next time, we just did this, and we actually talked quite a bit about the Donner Cut through this. You think maybe we should go ahead and do 3 and maybe come back to the Donner Cut later?
I think we should do number 3 next, because that'll be a little bit more fun.
Yeah, no, let's do that, and then maybe down the road we'll come back to the Donner Cut maybe after we do Returns.
Oh, definitely.
That's
a good idea. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's what we'll do. Oliver, it was a blast as always, man.
Excellent. Take care, matey.
We'll see everybody later on. Thanks for listening.